Hello, thank you for joining me today. My name is Jennifer Pranga, and we are here to talk about dyslexia. The dys part of dyslexia means lack of ability, and the lexia part means with language. So the simplest definition is a lack of ability with language. Before we look at a more formal definition of dyslexia, it's important to know what dyslexia is not. Most of the points on this slide are common misconceptions about dyslexia. Dyslexia is not the result of a lack of effort or laziness on the part of the student, and it is not an indicator of someone's intellectual ability. The following is the definition adopted by the International Dyslexia Association, IDA, and the National Institute for Child Health and Human Development, NICHD. Dyslexia is a specific learning disability that is neurological in origin. It is characterized by difficulties with accurate and or fluent word recognition and by poor spelling and decoding abilities. Dyslexia is neurological in origin, meaning it is brain-based. These difficulties typically result from a deficit in the phonological component of language. This means difficulty with the sound system of our language. It is often unexpected in relation to other cognitive abilities, meaning they have the intelligence to learn other information as well as learn to read and write. So think Einstein, Winston Churchill, Carl Jung, Thomas Edison. Provision of effective classroom instruction means the student has been in an environment that others have been able to learn in. Secondary consequences. Difficulty with decoding can lead to difficulty in comprehension. It can also lead to the student limiting how much they read, which may limit their ability to build background knowledge in many areas, and may impact growing their vocabularies. However, many individuals with dyslexia can find alternative ways to build their background knowledge and vocabularies. Neuroplasticity is the ability for the brain to make new connections for learning. This happens over the lifespan, but it takes longer as we age. The adolescent brain, however, is creating a myelin formation, which makes these connections 3,000 times more effective. Repetition. Everyone needs repetition to learn new information. Think of the brain's ability to build effective connections for learning as a muscle growing. You can't go to the gym one day and have a new muscle. You need to do a lot of practice and repetition of specific exercises to build good muscles. The same is true for neural connections. The genetics of dyslexia. Researchers at the NICHD are researching and beginning to identify the chromosomes and genes that may be responsible for reading difficulties. It is also lifelong. 74% of poor readers in the 3rd grade remain poor readers into 9th and sometimes even into adulthood. This research has been peer-reviewed and repeated in multiple studies, providing scientific-based evidence that dyslexia is neurobiological. Dyslexia can be hereditary, and it is common to have one or more family members to have dyslexia. Because dyslexia occurs on a continuum, it is also common for one family member to have mild symptoms and another to exhibit more severe symptoms. Once a student reaches the 4th grade, they are then reading to learn, and the explicit teaching of reading is much less common. Those with dyslexia remediated before 4th grade are in greater risk of remaining poor readers. There are several symptoms for dyslexia. Each symptom is on a spectrum of mild, moderate, severe, or profound. Those can be phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, auditory discrimination, misreads or omits common small words, slow reading, difficulty remembering names or shapes, and difficulty with rapid naming tasks. Each individual will have more than one symptom, but may not have all the symptoms. And each symptom can have a different degree of severity, from mild to profound. This is why two individuals with dyslexia will not look exactly the same in their challenges, strengths, and performance. A person with dyslexia needs more time to process written and sometimes spoken information. Because our culture expects an answer immediately after being asked, many students will blurt out the first thing that comes to their mind. If they are given more time to process the question, their answers are significantly better and more appropriate. What the research says works: accommodations, modifications, remediation, allowing time for processing, and to provide repetition. Individuals with dyslexia usually need a combination of these. For remediation, we need to use a phonics-based program that is systematic, sequential, cumulative, explicit, multisensory. An example of that would be Orton-Gillingham. Many studies have identified areas of the brain that are involved in the reading process. These studies are also able to illustrate that those with dyslexia have a glitch in the neural networks in their brain that enable a person to read. These same studies also illustrated that after proper remediation, usually Orton-Gillingham, the neural glitch began to resemble the network of a student without dyslexia. Special education. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, was enacted to protect students with disabilities from marginalization and denial of an education. Children from the ages of 0 to 22 are protected by the IDEA. Child Fund requires school districts to find and identify all students with disabilities. These include students in private schools. And the FAPE, Free and Appropriate Education. And there are also advocates who are trained in special education law and can help families navigate the IEP and 504 process. I hope this information provided you with a little more understanding of somebody with dyslexia. I would love for you to stay tuned because I am going to create another video that will walk you through a dyslexia simulation. This will give you a moment in the life of somebody that does have dyslexia. Again, thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you here again.